Hello everyone, it's Mia from Mia Bell Natural Beauty Brokers. Welcome to another Small Business Masterclass where every month industry experts and champion brands share their top tips to create success for yourself and your business. Let's talk about PR this month. It is one of those topics that definitely can cause a little bit of confusion for us as small business owners, specifically how to go about it without having a big budget, without hiring that big PR firm. Of course, PR is very essential in being an awareness driver for your brand. Not only that, but it really enhances your sales efforts, whether it's coming through direct to your website or stirring buzz to direct traffic over to your retail partners. But again, how do you do that as a small business? Our expert this month has been able to secure features for her brand in Refinery 29, Harper's Bazaar, Vogue, Mind Body Green, and she continues to gain more press for herself and her brand. I'd like to introduce to you Karen, the founder and CEO of Oui Shave, the first shave brand for women by women. She's a serial entrepreneur with love of consumer product design. Karen, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Mia. It's so nice to be here. Hi, everyone who's watching. I'm so excited to join you guys today.
This is awesome, Karen. I know we work together through Mia Bell.
Yes.
And I love seeing you when we get a chance to hang out on these things. So especially bringing your expertise as far as getting PR for yourself. You've only been in the market for just over a year now.
Yes.
And this is phenomenal of any brand. People love you. They love Oui Shave. Press loves the Oui Shave story. What are you doing? Please share with us. And first, I'd actually love for you to share how you got started with Oui Shave.
Okay, well, so I actually, like you said, Oui Shave has been around for a little over a year. The story is I've always had a really hard time shaving. The result has always been ingrown hairs and razor burn. It's just never, ever, ever been a good experience for me. And it's one of those, like as you kind of get older and like you're hanging out with your girlfriends and so on, and everyone's just like complaining about the things that they hate about, beauty and like skincare and all of that. And one of those things that always came up was shaving. And it's like, it's like you had to choose between which is the lesser evil. Like, am I going to shave because the hair grows back so quickly, or am I going to get a wax because, I feel like the esthetician needs to take me to dinner after she's put me into all those positions. Like, what? How am I supposed to, like, what's the best way to do this? One day, it was a spring day, beautiful day. It was just getting like really warm outside, super sunny. And after months, it feels like New York winters are like 6 months long. So it's months and months of winter. And then, it's like a beautiful day and we're like, okay, let's go get mani-pedis. So I did what every girl does right before she needs to go get a mani-pedi. I shaved my legs. And I went and broke out a brand new razor, plastic, pink, took it out of the shell. And I was just like, I remember thinking specifically, I said, I'm going to try this again and I'm going to do a brand new razor this time and we're going to see if that works. And I think it was just the one with just the single. And I was like, it's like almost like a science experiment. So I shaved. I felt something was wrong immediately, but I dragged on my clothes, went to get a pedicure, sat down, rolled my pant leg up and put it on the basin. And my friend looks over and she goes, what happened to your leg? I don't understand what that is. And there was a large red, like angry swatch of razor burn all up on the inside of my leg. And I think at that point, it just sort of clicked that there's got to be a better way. And they say every great story sort of starts like that. There's got to be a better way. And that was really the beginning of Oui Shave. And after that, I just started researching. I took about 6 months to research, find the best blades, the best manufacturers, the best products. I took a look at men's products and sort of saw, how they were formulated, like what the benefits were. And I just kind of figured out how to tweak that for women, for our real concerns in our skin and our sensitivities.
And it's definitely something that was missing in the market. I know that's why it's so exciting. It's never been seen before, or at least in the capacity that it is at now at Oui Shave. And a lot of women are thanking you for creating this product line. Really, even it is just so great, Karen. And I love innovation in the market. And really, this is how it happens.
Yeah, that's it's been really exciting to see and to sort of be a part of that. You know, for me, as someone who's been designing products and who's really excited about consumer products and has been for a long time, I think the most exciting thing has been to hear from our customers, you know, to get those love letters saying, you know, how much it's changed their skin or how much they enjoy shaving now. They look forward to it. So it's been a pretty fantastic experience. And I think that's all you could ever really ask for as a designer, is to have a customer have an incredible experience and come back and let you know that.
And Karen, I think you've done a great job at least seeing how much press you've gotten for yourself, really utilizing that enthusiasm to create that story. And I'd love to start diving into your tips because they are just so great. And I think it's what people need to hear, that it is possible. So let's kick off with tip number 1.
Okay, fantastic. So my first tip is to have really great product images. And this doesn't necessarily have to be super fancy. So, you know, I started We Shave like most other businesses on like a very tiny budget and sort of bootstrapped it, you know, all the way. And for a little while there, I thought, oh, you know, I'm just sort of putting up really quickly to see what people would think and what kind of reaction, you know, if people are really interested. And at first I tried doing like my own photography and having been in this business for a while, I should have known better. You know, I bought like the little lighting kit and everything. And I was just like, I'm not good at this, you know, it's not my strong point and I'm not getting the quality of the brand across. And once I made that change, it sort of led the way to other things. And for anyone who's kind of thinking, well, you know, are photos that really that important? One, they don't have to be styled photos. They just have to be photos against the white backdrop. What you want to make sure is that your product stands out loud and clear, especially if you've got details, if it's very special, if it's expensive. You really want to make sure that that can be seen like loud and clear from your website and from anyone who borrows those images to blog or, you know, post in like a major magazine or anything like that. So always think about it from the consumer perspective when you're thinking about getting those product images done, or maybe you're like, oh, should I spend the money on them? It's definitely worth it. And what you're doing is making it easier for other people to pick up your brand and run with it. I do have a little resource for everyone if you want to sort of like find ways to have your product photographed. You know, you don't obviously want to do it yourself maybe, and you know, you need some help. Shopify has like a really great resource list. And if you go on there, I mean, there's like resources with like helping you build a Shopify store and everything, but they also have resources like photographers, and a product photographer is just, they'll just use, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be tied to Shopify.
Wow, I had no idea that Shopify had those type of resources.
Yeah.
That is really great. I'll have to find the link and actually provide it down below for all viewers.
Awesome.
To be able to find that. That is great, Karen. Thank you so much. Look at that. Being resourceful. That is the way to go when you're bootstrapping. Love it. Let's go into tip number 2.
Okay. So tip number 2 is to gather a list of editors that you would absolutely love to reach. See who covers your type of product. Find other people in the business that you've admired. Maybe whether it's, you know, like other beauty brands. Well, definitely, like, you know, if you're in beauty, you'll find other beauty brands. And just take a look at their press lists and see who's covered them. And that's an awesome way to gather your very first, you know, your very first list. And what you do is it kind of opens your mind up a little bit, because you may have just thought, oh, well, only Cosmo or these particular beauty bloggers or that sort of thing. No, you'll find that Forbes, for example, has a lifestyle section, and they have covered different beauty brands. You'll find, you know, maybe wellness blogs that cover beauty brand. So you sort of end up giving yourself a little bit more room to play, and you don't sort of pigeonhole yourself into, like what you think everyone's sort of covering, or where the very top people are. And it gives you a little bit more room. And more room means more backlinks to you, means more press to you, means more exposure for your brand.
Yeah, and it really does open up the possibilities. Sometimes people get so set on one specific publication, and it has to be that specific publication because that's the one that's going to launch your brand. So when in fact, actually, it's just a little bit, all these little pieces, all these little hits. If you do consistent little hits, it's like you're always in the spotlight, right? And that is what's so exciting. And then people realize, wow, people are always talking about this brand. Maybe I should check it out.
Right. And also other press, I have this little phrase that I kind of, throw around, but press begets press. So what happens is, you may end up on like Forbes, or, just sort of like giving some tips about, how to put on the 5-minute face, for example, things like that. But then another outlet sees it, and then they sort of pick it up. So there are different ways to kind of, do it in such a way that you really do spread yourself around, still sticking true to brand, and get yourself the best exposure possible.
And I know I love hard press, meaning printed press, of course, the magazines. We all want to be in magazines, top dream, but really don't discount the online community, because that becomes so viral. It diffuses so quickly, and word of mouth spreads so much faster there than living in a magazine. So I love online press. I really do.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And one powerful thing about online press as well is that it builds your SEO, it builds your backlinks. It's like, like you said, for a magazine, you live for 30 days until it's thrown out, or, you know what I mean? And until the next issue comes out. But when you develop a relationship with a blogger, for example, that lives, and you also form more of a sort of relationship and supportive and camaraderie with them. And, it becomes not only the blog, but maybe Instagram and Twitter.
And relationships in PR are so powerful, just like they are in sales with retailers, or even down to your consumers. So it all comes down to relationships, right?
Yes.
And I think this segues into tip number 3 for you.
So tip number 3 is to then, once you kind of get a sense of where you want to see yourself and where you want to position your brand and your product, you just want to create a spreadsheet of those emails. And this is the beginning of, in maybe a larger organization, they might call this a marketing campaign, but at the end of it, this is exactly what it is that you're building. So don't be afraid to call it that. A lot of people will kind of be like, oh, well, what's your go-to-market strategy? And, that's it. That's what you're building right there. You're reaching out to influencers. You're reaching out to press. So I always start a spreadsheet. And then what you do is, so everyone wants the major publications, right? Like it's, we can't resist it. I mean, it's whether it's ego or it is important. And it says a lot about your brand to be able to, to say you've been seen in like the pages of Allure magazine or Cosmo or Vogue or that sort of thing. So what you do is you just kind of take a look through and you find the editors that you want to reach from that magazine. And then what you'll do is you find the parent company of that magazine. So, for example, Allure magazine is owned by Condé Nast. So an editor's email may be at allure.com, but it's possible that it's more likely that it'll be like at condenast.com. And what you want to do is just kind of like try a combination of emails, email addresses. So it could be like first name _ last name, that sort of thing. And I actually use this really cool plugin called Rapportive, and it's Rapportive.
I love Rapportive. I just have to say, I also use it. It is phenomenal as a PR and a sales tool. Use it all the time. Happy without it. I will make sure to put a link under the video so all viewers can check it out and see what we are enjoying.
Yeah, it's so great. I mean, there's just so many small tools to help you now, you know? And it's not about spam. Anyone who's watching or listening, I don't want them to think that this is about spamming anyone. It's a reporter's job and an editor's job to know what's happening. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of brands out there, large and small. And I think it's up to you to know that you're responsible for getting your brand out there and making someone aware of it and building awareness of it. So yeah, I use that all the time. Just kind of do like a combination of email addresses, see which one works. And bloggers are much easier because they want to be communicated with, and you can just kind of go on to like their About Us or their contact page and get that information from there. And Mia, the fourth tip is to email an authentic, short, personal introduction to that particular editor about your company. And, I remember like I've totally, like everyone else, I've gone through like my mistakes and everything. And I always tried to sound bigger than I was. And I would send these emails like, We Shave is a so and so and so, like trying to make it sound like this. There's nothing wrong with being small. Most startups are just a few people, really. And, we all have to go through our own growing pains and growing phases and everything. I think that it's powerful and it's authentic to just say who you are. If you're the CEO of the company emailing and, you're playing like 10 roles that day, that's fine. Just be who you are. And I always think like just that personal thing, like why you started the company, what problem it is that you're solving, what it is that you care about. That's really important to sort of encapsulate into that email and just really short, paragraph or so introducing. And I think you'll see the difference. We kind of like, I'll talk about conversion rates in a sense for a second, but most people talk about conversion rates for websites and so on, but it can be something as simple as someone opening an email and responding to you. And you'll see the difference if you've ever sent out an email that's just like, this is the company and blah, 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 as opposed to, hi, I'm Karen, I'm the founder of We Shave, and this is why I started. And then, of course, they get to click on that and they go and find a fantastic website and a really great product, then you're pretty much golden.
And definitely even the most personalized subject lines are the ones that also get opened up. I know from my experience of sending hundreds of thousands of sales emails, I know that ones that are more personalized get it. So specifically, hi, Karen, and then the subject, because they feel like, hey, this person knows my name. They know who I am. Maybe I should open it, right?
Yeah. And that as well, just being on the sales end, it really just boils, you send a lot of emails. You really do have to send a lot of emails.
We do.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I just wanted to kind of add to that, not to be discouraged. You could send 100 emails and you'll get 5 people who open it. It's never personal. Don't be discouraged by it. And just keep going. I sent emails and then 2 months later, someone is like, hey, I'm just responding to you now, or I just saw this, or this is when it's actually important to me. So you always have to think about things like that. It's important to you at that moment when you're emailing it. It's the most important thing in the world. But when it gets to the other side, and it hits that person's desk, they've got hundreds of product emails coming in. They've got a job to do. They've got a calendar to deal with. Is it the most important thing for them at that moment? It may not be.
That's a great point you bring up, Karen. I know sometimes talking about our own businesses and product lines is very personal. It is a piece of our soul, a piece of who we are. And sometimes when we don't get a response, it feels like we're being ignored. But really, in reality, it's that. That is the truth. What you actually mentioned is the hard truth. It has to be important to the person receiving it on the other end at that time or later on. And I think actually this maybe even goes into your bonus little tip there.
Yeah, so my bonus tip is to try to be aware of the editorial calendar. So, for example, with We Shave, I always get a lot more going on towards the summertime, spring into summer, because that's when the ladies are concerned with smooth shave and their bikini lines and all of that. So just sort of keep that in mind. Keep sort of think about what people would be writing about. Sometimes, I don't know if they still do this, but I remember a few years back, like you'd be able to go onto the larger sites, the Allure and like Condé Nast, so on, and you might be able to see their press calendar to get a sense of what was coming sort of down the pipeline. But just in general, keep in mind that bloggers will have a shorter lead time than traditional, printed press. So, a blogger might be like 1 or 2 months out or so on, or might be so excited that they'll write about you the week after they get it. Whereas, like printed media, traditional media is generally 3 to 4 months out timeline. And we all know that it's like towards the end of the year, that's when most businesses sort of do the bulk of their sales. And everyone just really wants to really hit that, like, oh, I've been in this holiday gift guide and that holiday gift guide. That's fantastic. Just know that you have to start in August or September, I would say, at the latest. Like, you've got to have that product ready, that photography ready, just be really ready to go.
Karen, oh my goodness, these have all been big boulders of gold as far as PR. Thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge and tips with us. Viewers, I really hope you can take these tips and put them to great use going here into the rest of the year. Really excited to see what you guys have as far as press, what comes through for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Karen, how can people connect with you outside of this interview? Where can they find you and We Shave?
Instagram is the best place to see what's going on, and I do try to be really engaged on Instagram, and it's also where I post my own press wins. So I kind of love to see entrepreneurs get together and really, back each other and support each other. So if anyone ever has questions, they can, reach out there, and you can see some of my own press wins and know that, I've been at the grind myself.
And that is true, the daily grind. We got to do what we got to do. You guys, thank you again so much for joining us this month. If this video was incredibly helpful to you, please don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter so that you don't miss out on next month's expert interview that's coming up, as well as some business tips that come through from Mia Bell, and to really help you up-level your business. So thank you guys again so much. We'll catch you next month. Bye-bye.